Hello, my name is Jermaine aka Jay, and welcome to my channel. This is season 3 of Jay's Big Chat. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Hello and welcome to another episode of Jay's Big Chat with me, your host Jermaine aka Jay. And joining me to talk about the topic love, we've got Relicia, Dana, Filippo and Tasmin. Hi guys.
Hey.
Let's get right into the topic. Today we're going to be discussing the topic love, which is obviously a massive topic and it means different things to different people. What we do have, I'm not sure if you guys were taught this, I think it was like year 10 or year 11 for me, where we learned about the 4 different types of love, or the 4 categories in which they fall under. So we've got Eros, which is, as it says, erotic, passionate love. We then have Philia, which is love of friends and equals. Then we've got Storge, love of parents for children, and Agape, love of mankind. Are you guys saying that this was never something that you guys were familiar with, like the 4 different categories of love?
Oh no, they taught me that in school. I just couldn't remember the actual names.
Oh, okay.
I know that there's like different types of love, but I never had like a name for it.
Ah, okay, fine. So like, yeah, this one was pounded into us to remember like the 4 different types of love. And I remember my teacher at the time was like, you can't love the same, you know, there's different types of love. So I guess knowing those different types of love, would you guys say that, or what are your opinions on the word love? Like, how do you view love? What is love to you?
I think it's fair to make a distinction as the words you mentioned. Those are all Greek terms, and because I think in ancient Greek they used to make a distinction between those different kinds of loves.
Yeah.
Whereas in some other cultures, like in the English language, it's very weird that you only have one word for love. Like for us in Italy, we have love, as in like you usually would say to a partner, like "I love you," and then we have affection, what we call affection, which is like a subset of love. And
Okay.
I think you definitely have to put like a degree of different kind of loves. You don't necessarily need a term for each category, but yeah, making a distinction is necessary.
Okay, so in Italy, like you would easy to differentiate love based on the different types of words that you would use?
We have 2. So we have love as in amore, and we have love as in affection. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it's like a different degree of love. So usually the goes like if you are with someone as a like in a relationship, then you wouldn't straight up say I love you, right? But you could say ti voglio bene. It's something like, it's not I love you, it's like something less. And then after a while, you know, you get to know each other and whatnot, and then you would try to drop the bomb and say, oh, you know, like I love you.
So is it like, I guess I said like, is it like you know when you like someone and then you love someone? Is it kind of like that?
Mm-hmm. But it is kind of depressing to think that the English language, especially because there's so many other languages that have many other words that we just don't have in English language. I feel like the English language is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah, I mean, but the word love to you, like, when you hear it, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I think of like a feeling. So I don't know. I think it's just, when I think about the word, to me, it's like feeling like good about a situation.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why I feel like that, but I think it's like having that strong kind of connection to someone.
Yeah.
Just always reminds me of like, I don't know, just feeling good, feeling happy, content.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Has everyone here been in love?
No, that's the question.
There's a difference between being in love and loving someone. That's what I think.
Okay. Elaborate a little bit more.
For me or Dana?
Yeah. No, Relisa, elaborate a little bit more. Being in love and loving someone.
It's deeper. When you're in love with someone, it's out of this world. Like, you would do absolutely anything. I think like this day and age, we just throw out love like it's nothing. So I don't know, you might meet a friend or somebody you haven't seen in ages, and they're quick to say, oh, I miss you, I love you so much, that kind of thing. Do you really? Like, people say I love you like it's nothing, whereas when you know someone loves you, when someone's in love with you, you can feel it. The connection is insane. Even just looking at that person, and it's not just being sprung, it's actually just wanting that person more than anything, loving that person more than you love yourself. I feel like that's what it feels like to be in love. You know, like if that person says, oh, I'm going to die tomorrow, I need a kidney transplant. If you're in love with someone, it's so easy to say, have my kidney, as opposed to just be like, I don't know about that. If you have to think of it, you're not in love with that person. That's what I think.
Any agrees, disagrees?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a difference between love and in love, but I think it probably is different for everyone because everyone's experience of love is different.
Okay, but what about, I guess, just bringing back what Relisa just said about the word love sort of being, as you will, like dashed around willy-nilly. Do you think that's the case? Like, do you have people say they love you just out of, I guess, something to say? Like, do you have people, or have you ever said I love you, but really, if you really think about it, no, you don't love, you actually don't love that person?
I always say like love you when I say goodbye to people. I'm like, bye, love you.
That's what, isn't that what I just said about that?
Yeah, but is that the truth? Like, do you actually love them?
Do you love them?
Yeah, I would say that I have love for people. I think so. Like, I have love for my friends, so I do love them, and I do mean it when I say like I love you. But it is different when it's in a relationship setting. But there's also like you can say there's a difference between love and lust, and there's also like puppy love. You get like toxic love. There's so many different types of love, but they all feel different. But we've only got one word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, also, I feel like, you know, that butterfly feeling that you get, people mistake that for being in love. So when you might start to get to know someone at the beginning of the dating stage, and you have that feeling, and you think you're in love with them, but it's not. It's just the excitement of being with that person for the first time, first few months, and then that's when they kind of dish out the word love, and then they have to keep saying it because they've said it in the beginning. But I think it's just used too many times.
But I guess this is why, like the definition that we just looked at, when you've got like the passionate love, and you've got love of friends and, you know, family and things like that. So I guess you can, or within yourself, you can differentiate the way that, I don't know, you love your parents or your siblings to the way that you love, you know, a partner that you're in a relationship with, to the love that you've got for a friend or for things. So, you know, like some people are like, oh my gosh, I love my phone, or I love my new bed, or I love my car, you know. And I've actually heard people say, oh, don't throw that word. How can you just love your car? Like, what do you mean you love your car? It's not a comparison, is it? Like, you can't love your car the way that you love your mum, or can you?
Some people do, actually.
It's true. Like, you use the same word, you love your car and you love your mother, but it is a different degree of the same, like, root sentiment. Like, liking something, liking someone, loving something, loving someone are just like two extents of like a spectrum of, you know, affection. How much I feel happy or content when I see or talk or interact with that identity, which can be a person or a car.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to differentiate when you use only one word. So it is also fair to say, okay, don't throw out like the word love when referring to an object. But at the same time, it is love to some extent. I think.
True. And what is love anyways, you know? People still can't really answer that question properly because it's like a different thing. It's a different thing for everyone. What is love? You know, like, what does it mean to love something or someone, because at the end of the day it's just chemicals in your brain, isn't it? But they can't explain how there's not one definition or one idea of love, because your idea of loving someone might be different to my idea of loving someone or loving something. That's why I say, have you ever been in love?
Yeah. So does this go back to like Tasmin's sort of initial I guess thing when she said that to her it's a feeling, you know, is it, and obviously her feeling is different to my feeling, so the way in which she interprets love, it will be different to how I interpret it. Would you say that it's a feeling then?
Yeah, but it's also just chemicals in your brain, isn't it? Like, it's a chemical reaction. So it's like a stimulus and a response kind of idea, and like you get stimulated from having different things in your life, and then that's the response that you get is love.
So have you ever been in love, Dana?
I would say that I've loved people before, yes, especially in terms of like a relationship aspect, but I think you can fall out of love too. I don't know. Love is like a permanent thing. Or you can still love people, but maybe not as much as you used to love them before. But I don't know.
I think if you've been in love with someone, so I've only been in love once, and it's hard to fall out of love with that person, but I have loved. So when you love someone, if you don't spend time with them or you don't see them for a while, it can kind of like fade away. But when you're in love with someone, it's like no matter how many times you stop thinking about them, or if you're not around them for a certain amount of time, you still have those strong feelings. So yeah. Disagree to me?
Huh?
It's hard to answer because you've got like every single relationship I've been in the past. I would say that I'd loved the person at the time, but when you compare the different loves, like, and the reason for loving that person, they're all different. Like you're in a different place in your life, so what you think is love at the time, you might look back on it in hindsight and be like, actually, did I really love that person?
That's so true.
Yeah, like, because as you get older, you get more experience, you kind of have you've got a better idea.
Does that mean that you're actually in love though? Like, or what I'm trying to like piece together here is the word love and when it's being used, right? And whether or not, and going back to Elise's earlier statement, whether or not it's used just for a filler or it's used because it's something that needs to be said. When you're in a relationship, everyone's waiting for who says I love you first. Whether you're a parent and you say to your kids, oh, I love you, or your child waiting for your mom or your dad or your gran or whoever it is, your carer, to say I love you, because it gives you that sense of belonging, that sense of that warm fuzzy feeling in any respect. So do you feel like it's you contemplate after a situation or after relationships happen whether or not it's love because it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like
one thing that annoys me about society is that people always feel the pressure to say I love you back. Like if you tell someone you love them, it shouldn't be because you want them to say I love you back. It should be that you want to express. If it's not,
then that causes majority of issues, isn't it? It's like telling someone you love them.
But then you shouldn't be. Do you really love someone if that love is conditional on them loving you back? Like
you might just want to stay with them, so you might just end up going, I love you too.
Sometimes people take longer to fall in love, sometimes the time scale is different for everyone. You can't, if you really love a person, do you then like not punish them but get mad at them or annoyed with them or anything if they don't say it back? I'm a firm believer in everyone takes their time for these things, and you can't really force it on someone else. Just because you love someone doesn't mean they're obligated to love you back.
That's so true. I actually remember being in a situation where like I felt pressured to say it back, and actually I think it kind of takes away the magic, because I knew myself, I wasn't ready to say that. But like you just said, I kind of felt like obliged to say it. And also go back to what you were saying about like, have you ever been in love? I think actually that's really a really good point, because I don't know, I'm just thinking about like past situations, and I think that sometimes I've thought that it was, but then it's like, was I actually in love with that person, or did I just kind of enjoy their company and kind of what we had? But I actually, like, thinking about it, I actually don't really know if I've ever been in love or not. Because I don't, like, when I think about it now, I mean, maybe it's because I'm a bit older and had obviously like more experiences, but I think now my view of love and what it is and what it means to me, I don't think I've ever really had that, like, now thinking about it. So
and are our kind of ideas of love skewed by the media that we consume? So different movies that you watch and how they portray love, is that how love is in real life? So like, do we start stereotypically thinking of love as things we've seen, or is it more based on your experiences?
I think it's both. Sometimes it does, like, you see stuff and you think, wow, but then actually in reality it's not really as magic as it looks on TV.
Because I think it can be common to think you love someone during like the honeymoon stage, but you don't actually really know the person yet, because you're always like trying to put your best foot forward in the first few months. But then people, when you start to see the real side of them, that's when they're like, that's when they turn around and go, oh, actually, I don't know if I love this person as much as I originally thought I did. So then, were you just
can't take it back?
Were you just in lust, or
no? But can you take love back?
How are you going to take love back? So stop saying I love you.
No, can you unlove someone?
You can inside, but you can't tell them that.
Yeah, but you be like, so, you know, last week when I said I love you, about that. About that. I don't think I do, but I'm on the way there. But like, I don't like. Would anyone ever take that in a positive way?
Do you know what? I've said I hate you sometimes. So
can you take that back? Yeah, you can take back hate.
So no. So if so, in the beginning, as you said, in the honeymoon stages, you're like, oh, I love you, and then you're kind of seeing exactly how they are, and then you might get into an argument, and me saying, oh, I hate you so much, that's me saying I don't love you no more. So technically, I've said it. I don't know about you guys, but I've said I don't love you. Whether they understood what I was saying or not,
or as they hate.
I would like to be in a relationship where the person felt comfortable enough to come to me and say, actually, I think I rushed saying I love you before, and I think I need a bit more time to fall in love with you. I'd rather the person was honest with me than was just lying about it, because I don't know. Communication is, I know, but
have any of you ever been pressured into saying I love you, like, or saying it first? Maybe not reciprocating it, but being pressured to say it first because
I've never said it first. I've never said it first, but I have been pressured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely been saying I love you, especially because guys, like, if you guys get so ego hurt about it. Like, I don't know what it is, but just the guys that I've been with in the past, if you don't say I love you back, or even if like they ask you to go out, if you want to be their girlfriend kind of thing, even if you just say, can I have a bit of time to think about this, they get so
hissy fit,
get so
Filippo,
upset about
is this true, Filippo? Is there an ego
I think there is.
Yeah,
it might on some extent it's true, but also it very much depends on your self, like, confidence, right? Like, of course it's not gonna be easy if I go to you like, oh, you know, I like you, do you want to be with me? And you're like, oh, I don't know, let me think about it. Like, so it's either like I'm finding the courage to come to you, and I get a straight up like, I don't know if I feel the same. And that can kind of be hard to metabolize, I guess. Like, it never personally happened to me, but I could definitely see. Definitely see it.
But a friend, you know, your friend, you know, it happened.
No, but I can see why. I can see why it would kind of hard.
Yeah. Okay, so
I think some people ask too early. You know, it's like 2 weeks. Do you want to be my girlfriend? It's like, whoa, can we take this a step back a bit? Like,
but are
relax.
you saying that you can't? Are you saying that you can't love within 2 weeks? Is there a particular time frame that's just a no where love can possibly not like manifest between those times? Are you saying 2 weeks definitely there's no love in between that?
Well, you've only known a person for 2 weeks. Do you really know the person? Like, how can you get into? I feel like my view on relationships has changed so much compared to when I was younger, because do you really like, you want to get into a relationship with someone you actually know, you know, and
How
you know
long
what
will it
they're
take?
like, what they're like in arguments, you know how they deal with certain situations.
How long will that take?
Yeah.
Probably a lifetime.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it depends on how often you see the person, how often you communicate honestly. You know, that's going to be different for everyone. And I'm not saying you have to like, because people change as well, you know. So like, you're never going to fully know a person. But 2 weeks is definitely not.
Have you had someone within the 2 weeks period, or like less than a month, let's say? Have you had someone in less than a month tell you that they love you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Has anyone else?
Yeah.
I have. Yeah.
I haven't.
Is that red flag?
Do you know, I feel like, I'm like, what are you up to? You know? Like, what do you
Like
want? I don't get it. Like, I'm not trying to say that I'm not lovable. Obviously, everyone is, but it's a bit too soon. Like, what?
What were you saying, Filippo?
I was saying that it never happened, but I can see. Why not, right? I believe in love at first sight. Like, I believe that there is no given time where you have to know the other person and then only then say, okay, I can love this person or I can't. It's because if you do have to do that, then it's a mess. Like, it takes ages, right? You never stop learning from someone else. You never stop discovering new sides of a person. So I don't think it's right to say, oh, once you are 100% sure and you've met all the sides of a person, then you can only say that you love him or her. Because
no, I don't
mean
it like that. I just think that, you know, you need to get to know a person a little bit better before you can, because you can love your friends, you know, like after knowing them for a short amount of time. Like, I think I more mean the term when Relisha's saying when you're in love with someone, that takes longer.
So is it acceptable where I've heard individuals meet for the first time at an event or wherever, and by the end of the evening, like, the word love is, I'm talking about just friendships here, you know, oh, I love you so much, and it tends to be it tends to be the girls to be the one to be like,
so cringy.
you know, like, oh my gosh, you're my best friend, oh my days, like, you know, I love you so much, and you know, this word is definitely used. So do you think like there's a difference between loving a person and loving things about that person? So where people might get confused, like, oh, I love your energy, you know, I love your style, I love what you're about, I love your personality, and confusing that for loving the person. Or is there no difference? Is love like, once you love something about someone, is that enough to call it love?
Just what we were saying before. It's you can meet someone, like girls will meet each other in the club bathroom and say I love you by the end of the night, just because maybe their vibe, the energy was nice. It's not used like it's meant to be used. So if someone says to me I love you, it feels nice, but it doesn't feel as good as it should, you know.
But can you tell, can you guys tell when someone actually loves you? Like, if someone mentioned the word love, and like, not even relationship wise, but like, or intimate relationship wise, but even like your parents or siblings, friends, and things like that. Like, have you ever felt like someone said "I love you" and you're thinking, "Huh? Do you?" Or have you got any like experiences in that?
I think you can definitely tell. Like, it's some sort of like gut feeling you have, and you can feel when you're being loved or when you aren't.
I think the same as what Relisha just said, like the actions. I feel like that is a big giveaway.
We haven't mentioned love languages because people have different love languages as well.
What's yours?
What do you mean?
So like there's words of affirmation, acts of service, I can't remember.
Physical touch, gift giving. Yeah. You're meant to take a test basically, and it will ask you questions about yourself, and it will you will then find out what your love language is. Basically.
Yeah, so people can like love in different ways, and like people like to receive love in different ways. And so like that's what, when you were saying through actions you can tell somebody loves you, that's only if your love language is acts of service. But some people prefer to have words of affirmation and like just be complimented.
What category do you fall under?
All of them. I want everything. I'm selfish.
Give me, show me, tell me, everything.
No, I think I'm just about like, I don't know what category communication. I probably am more acts of service and just like honesty, maybe.
For me, my love language is physical touch and words of affirmation. So I would tell someone that's my love language, because I don't want the whole playing and running around in circles. Oh wait, is it gift giving or is it? I don't have time for that. Like, obviously, I'm kind of like what Dana said, like all of them, but those two are my main ones. I'm not saying that I don't want gifts. Everybody likes gifts. Just a little FYI in case my future husband's watching. Yeah.
It's the first time I hear about love languages, to be fair.
No way. You should look them up after the podcast.
Yeah, I will.
Really interesting to know.
Yeah. Like, do you feel love? Do you feel loved more so when someone tells you or when they show you, or are you just a mixture of it already?
Show, like practical is way better than theory, right? 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Words don't mean nothing without something behind it.
No, exactly. And also some people prefer to have the physical touch and like know that they feel loved with a lot of like cuddles and a lot of affection.
Yeah.
But I feel like, okay, let's Tasmin, if you want to, I don't know if you wanted to give your language.
I think I'm probably a mixture of them all as well. Although I feel like not so much maybe the gifts. I mean, like everybody should have said, like obviously gifts are always welcome, but I don't feel like I need someone to like buy me stuff. But it's more about, I think, like the whole physical touch thing, like being told nice things. I need like clarity. I'm a Libra. I feel like I need people to tell me good things and make me
tell me I'm pretty.
I'm the same in terms of when I agree when you say I don't need gifts kind of to make someone to know that someone loves me, but it is nice when someone's thoughtful, like if you're hungover and someone brings over Lucozade, or they bring you a pack of things, or like they bring you over a hoodie that's like too small for them and now it's going to fit you and you can keep it, that kind of thing. Those aren't like gifts that in terms of money, but when people are thoughtful in that way, it's still nice and it still makes me feel loved.
Yeah, totally,
because you know that people are thinking of you. I feel like everyone probably is a combination of all the love languages. You've just got some that are more than others.
More important than the others.
So like in terms of love, do you think that people can love internally and not show that love, if that makes sense? So like, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where at the end of a relationship or a friendship, whatever it is, and the person goes, oh my gosh, I've loved you so much, and I've loved you more than anyone ever that I've ever loved. And you're like, really? Have you? And when they then explain the reason why they think they have, you're like, oh my gosh, but you've never shown that. Like, you know, do you think some people just love in turn, like they feel like they're loving you, but really
in regards to what you're saying, those type of people only saying that they love you then because they're losing you. When you feel like you're losing someone, that's when you feel like you have to express everything.
I think as a follow-up of what you asked before, it is true that at the end of a relationship, someone would say anything to get you back. But at the same time, it's also true, and it might happen that someone doesn't explicitly show love, but he or she feels it. So it is true that you can silently love and not physically show it. So yeah, I think they don't always go together, and you should be in the lookout of, should always. It's always communication is always needs to be open and 100% clear. Because if you manage to put down like a communication with the partner or the other person, and then you can find if there is love. If you can, yeah.
That does make that does make sense, and I think that's what I was trying to ask.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I just want to say that if you're in a relationship or you're trying to build a relationship with someone, that you shouldn't focus on what society deems, the whole what love is meant to be. If you're with someone, you should take your time, as Dana said, get to know each other, the bad and the good, and don't just say I love you for love, just saying it's sake. Like, say it when you actually feel that you love someone, because at the end of the day, it can end up hurting that person. You can't just say I love you and then next week go and hurt the person, because this is why our society has so much like broken people and people who suffer with mental health issues because of situations that, like, in relationship that has pushed them to that point. So just be careful when using the word love and saying I'm in love, I love that person, etc., etc. Yeah,
it's powerful stuff, man.
Thanks.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was kind of about like different, I guess it was kind of about different types of love. And they were saying about almost like self-love, how that kind of comes first, because if you don't have that within yourself, you can't almost then feel or give that to someone else. And then
so true.
That is.
I think if you have like those insecurities within yourself, then you're always going to be feeling like not 100% in that relationship and almost looking for them to be the one to bring you the happiness in that situation. Whereas, like, how some people, they go from like relationship to relationship, and they're just constantly in and out of relationships because they almost rely on that other person to like bring them that happiness and to make them feel loved. Whereas actually spending that time on yourself and learning to love yourself can actually, I think, really be a massive key to a successful relationship and finding love eventually.
So
that's literally 100% agree with that. Like 100%.
Yeah. That's,
if you can't love yourself, how can you expect other people to love you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you guys love yourselves?
Yes. Positive affirmations in the mirror.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.